What's up guys, today I wanted to make a video about the last fight of Index Season 3, although calling it a fight is perhaps inaccurate due to how truly one-sided it was. And that is Fiamma of the Right, the leader of God's Right Seat, versus Aleister Crowley, the world's greatest magician and board chairman of Academy City. While this video may appear friendly for anime-only watchers, this video will have details regarding Aleister Crowley's magic, which hasn't yet been revealed in the anime. So if you'd rather wait until Index Season 4 or simply to catch up with the light novel to learn about this magic, then perhaps this video isn't for you. Although this video will have no spoilers regarding the plot. So if you only care about spoilers regarding the plot and characters and don't care about the details of what Aleister's magic actually is, then you can continue watching. Fiamma of the Right was one of the strongest characters introduced in the series by the time of World War III, and yet Aleister appeared out of nowhere and seemed to effortlessly defeat the main villain of the arc. Let's explore the specifics of why this was the case by first talking about Fiamma. Fiamma's power was kinda downplayed in the anime due to the additional lines of context that we get with the story in a novel format being removed entirely. With the power of the Holy Right, Fiamma's magic would produce just the right amount of destructive force to defeat whatever target he faced, and Fiamma would never miss his target either. This made Fiamma almost impossible to defeat, although Toma seemingly was a better counter to Fiamma's ability. As Toma was an average human, the Holy Right would not produce as much destructive force and would be slower, meaning that Toma could anticipate Fiamma's strikes easier, combined with Toma's precognition, which I made a video about. Fiamma's power also increased drastically due to being La Persona Superiore a Dio, or the one above God, but he was stripped of his power as soon as Toma regenerated his arm and restored Imagine Breaker. Fiamma was also weakened further as World War III started to come to an end, as the Holy Right is also powered by the malice of the entire world, which was one of the reasons why Fiamma started World War III, to increase the suffering of the world, to increase the power of his magic. So Fiamma was definitely weaker after his defeat by Toma, not only due to the lack of his new form and the malice of the world being depleted, but also because he had lost Index's controller, which gave him access to all of the spells within Index's grimoires. Nevertheless, Fiamma was still very powerful due to the abilities of his Holy Right that I mentioned earlier. It does raise a few questions though. If the Holy Right becomes stronger depending on the opponent that Fiamma faces, why did Fiamma not get massively buffed when fighting Aleister, since Aleister is pretty strong himself? And as the Holy Right adapts to the speed of the opponent and reacts for Fiamma with its auto-target ability that we saw when it defended Fiamma from that satellite laser beam, why did the Holy Right not defend Fiamma when he was attacked by Aleister? And why was Fiamma blitzed by Aleister in their final clash? Surely this cannot simply be because there was less malice in the world that it affected Fiamma's power to such a great extent. Let's address the moment where Aleister sneak attacks Fiamma and instantly severs his arm. How did Aleister even appear behind Fiamma without Fiamma even noticing? Aleister can actually appear in multiple places at once by using different versions of himself. The concept is described as faxing, like the old fax machines that existed before mobile phones. Aleister can actually manifest a different version of himself anywhere in the world, manipulating the very existence of that other version, so that when we see this version of Aleister disappearing, he is actually fading back into a weird state of non-existence. So yeah, this other Aleister manifested into existence behind Fiamma. Fiamma truly had no idea he was there until he got hit. The magic that Aleister used to attack Fiamma was not explicitly mentioned, even in the light novel. It merely mentions that Fiamma's arm was severed, but it fails to explain how or why the Holy Right didn't defend Fiamma. I believe Aleister used a spell known as Spiritual Tripping to attack Fiamma in this moment, as it is usually Aleister's standard way to attack his enemies. But it would also, in my opinion, explain why the Holy Right was unable to defend Fiamma, or it did not activate to anticipate the attack, as Spiritual Tripping works in a similar fashion to a voodoo doll spell. Aleister's mind is linked to the mind of his victim, and illusionary weapons that inflict real damage can be used against the target. However, these weapons are completely invisible to anyone other than Aleister and the target, and lack a physical form, only being able to interact and harm the designated target. In theory, as Spiritual Tripping is merely an illusion, non-physical, and technically doesn't exist, the Holy Right was likely unable to detect this magic as a result. As the spell is linked to Fiamma's mind without him realizing, it is not linked to the Holy Right, meaning that the Holy Right couldn't sense the attack despite the Holy Right's ability to automatically react to threats, even if Fiamma himself cannot react to them. If the spell was linked to the Holy Right, then maybe it would be able to react to Aleister's attack. But I also think even if the Holy Right did react to Aleister's attack, it would fail to protect Fiamma. This is because Spiritual Tripping has been shown to phase through other objects that are not the direct target. As Fiamma himself was the target, Spiritual Tripping would likely phase through the Holy Right like it wasn't even there, and hit Fiamma regardless of any defense. Spiritual Tripping has been shown to do this when Aleister used the Gamma Knife and the Big Bang Bomb variants of the spell, where he targeted specific things and everything else remained unharmed. Now, by severing Fiamma's right arm, this nerfed Fiamma further, as Fiamma used his right arm to control the Holy Right, so without it, the Holy Right would be increasingly difficult for Fiamma to use, and it stated that he couldn't control it with his will anymore. Nevertheless, the Holy Right does manifest itself, with it replacing Fiamma's severed right arm temporarily. With the Holy Right active, why was Aleister able to outspeed it so easily? Well, this is only explicitly seen in the anime version of this scene, as it is not mentioned in the original light novel that Aleister moved faster than the Holy Right in this moment. The anime never even stated that the Holy Right has the ability to move faster than the target, therefore they probably didn't think Aleister moving faster would be a problem due to how they adapted the novel. It is merely stated in a novel that they clashed and Aleister was the victor. Yet, if we take into account the ability of the Holy Right to always have enough destructive force necessary to destroy the target, making it always stronger than Fiamma's opponent, why did Aleister not lose in this clash? Again, the reason is never explicitly stated, but if we interpret the scene based on what we do know combined with information we find out later on, I think there is an answer to this question. Before the final clash, Aleister activates his own magic, the silver staff that Aleister uses to disguise his blasting rod spell, which amplifies his magic or power by 10 times of what his opponent perceives. I believe this ability is the perfect counter to the Holy Right's adaptation, probably even more so than Terma himself. The silver staff is described as being an illusion and not existing in the world, further supporting my theory from earlier. More importantly, as the Holy Right always adapts to just have enough force necessary to destroy the target, it would likely not have taken into account the fact that Aleister was using a 10 times power boost on his own magic, as Aleister would be Fiamma's target in a situation, not the magic he is using. So the Holy Right would be adapted to use the required force to defeat Aleister, so Aleister using his boosted magic must have been stronger than the force Fiamma was using to destroy Aleister. Fiamma's Holy Right must have designated Aleister's magic as a target in the moment in which they clashed, but I doubt it would have adapted, as we have already established that Aleister's magic did not physically exist, meaning that it is very unlikely that the Holy Rite could adapt to something that did not exist, meaning that Aleister would have far more power than the Holy Rite in this moment. And also, since Fiamma recognised Aleister as Aleister Crowley, the greatest magician in history, and realising he was outmatched, this would have likely boosted Aleister's power even further, as the Blasting Rod works entirely on perception, how strong Aleister and his attacks are perceived by his victim. Anyway, I hope you found this video interesting or informative. Do you agree with my interpretation of this fight, or do you have another theory as to why Fiamma's powers did not work to the best as they can do on Aleister? Let me know in the comments, and thank you as always for watching and supporting the channel, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye.